checking us out. RX Mark Your Jump Ropes, the best jump ropes in the business. Our title sponsor and such great support from them. You can get your RX Mark Your Jump Ropes by going to rxmarkgear.com. At checkout, use Clydesdale15, all caps, and you can get 15% off your order. You can buy jump ropes of any color, shape, size. The handles, you can make those whatever you want. You can get the cable at different weights and different lengths depending on your height. So check it out at rxmarkgear.com. Use Clydesdale15 at checkout, and you'll get 15% off your order. That does exclude new additions, new arrivals, and special editions. But check that out. It's a great deal. In addition to that, they're also supporting our hashtag Road to 1,000. If you subscribe to our YouTube channel, Clydesdale Fitness and Friends podcast, and you have a public profile, every time we hit the century mark with subscribers, we're giving away a brand new RX Mark Your Jump Rope. And Dave Newman, the owner of the company, has promised to throw in a couple extras for that winner. So make sure you go over, subscribe, and you have a public profile, and you may be our next winner.
Okay, can we talk about the most delicious protein bars ever made? Bear Bells. These are caramel cashew. These are my go-to. They're my favorite. They have 20 grams of protein, no added sugar. The macros are phenomenal, like 200 calories, less than a handful of grams of sugar in the whole bar. Did I say 20 grams of protein? Yeah. They are delicious, like a treat. Can't believe that the macros are the way they are and that the nutrients are what they are, because they taste like a candy bar. And I know my candy bars pretty well. I'm like a Snickers type of person. There's no aftertaste. They have so many flavors to choose from. If you're not a fan of the caramel cashew, they've got salty peanut. They have a hazelnut nougat. They've got a chocolate dough, a crispy fudge, cookies and cream. What am I missing? White chocolate almond. They're all delicious. I like all of them, but check them out at bearbells.com. Try some for yourself. You won't be sorry. They're delicious. Totally awesome.
All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome to the Clydesdale Fitness and Friends. My name is Scott Schweitzer. I'm your host. I am the Clydesdale. We love to do fitness, and these are my friends. And today we have my co-host Amy here and the young gun herself, Anikha Greer, who we had on last May and introduced her to a lot of people. And we're so excited to catch up with her.
Yeah, thank you for having me on.
So much has happened since last May.
Yes.
So let's kind of start with, we'll go from there. When we talked to you last May, you were, there was the Pit Fitness Ranch, which you had decided not to do so that you could focus on the open division of CrossFit and really give it like 100% as you went forward. So are you still 17 or have you turned 18 yet?
No, I'm still 17. I turn 18, I think for a second, June 11th. So soon, but not quite.
Okay. So you'll be June by the games.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Or you'll be 18 by the games, not June.
Yeah.
Okay. So you took that year off and you told us you were going to focus on engine.
Yeah.
Because you were strong enough in the open division, but you needed to work on your engine. And so how did that go?
Really well. I think, like, honestly, if I'm going to be completely candid, I don't feel like I was one of the more talented teens coming up, in the sense of, like, I had a lot of big holes that needed fixing. So we did entirely do that. We didn't do any strength except for like snatching every once in a while, just because that is like a weaker lift for me. And like, I think it was May when we started, might have been April, May, June. I basically did one CrossFit workout a day, and I ran like almost 60 kilometers a week. Like, we just ran. And that was extremely beneficial. And I remember at first I was like a little skeptical. I was like, what do you mean I'm just going to be running? I was like, what about burpees? And what about all of the like CrossFit Metcon stuff that needs work? But I trusted Brett because he seems to know what he's doing. And it actually was really, really beneficial. And actually, because it was so helpful for those like 3 months, we actually bought an assault runner for our gym. Because once like September, October hits, we stop being able to run outside. And I mean, you can, if you're like a seasoned runner, there are lots of people who run outside in the winter, but for myself, I would get extremely injured because my body does not handle the cold well. I would snap an Achilles or like tear a hip flexor. So we ended up buying an assault runner, and we honestly continued that. We introduced some more CrossFit workouts back in once the fall hit, but I still every day would have at least 2 workouts that were just like purely run, row, burpee, run, row, run, burpee for like 60 to 90 minutes.
Oh, wow. So you told us last time that you and your coach, Brett, have a really good relationship, that
Yeah.
you trust him implicitly. And so this was and you said it yourself, it was very different than what you expected it to be, but you trusted him and you just went forward.
Exactly.
So how did your body composition change with that type of training? I mean, did you notice any composition changes?
It feels so long ago, to be honest, but I don't know if I noticed anything huge because I'm not somebody who drops or gains. Well, actually, I wouldn't say gains. I'm not somebody who drops weight very easily. So like I didn't notice a huge difference. I mean, I probably, if I look back in pictures, I might have been like slightly leaner, but it's also the summer and you're tanner and everybody looks jacked when they're tan. So
Yeah, everybody looks real good.
Yeah. But nothing huge, I don't think.
Nice.
So I've watched your career over the last year. In my opinion, your pictures, you look so lean right now and so cut, that you have gotten so strong.
Thank you.
And part of that has got to be nutrition as well, right? I know you're an M2 athlete. You've been working with them. How did they change your nutrition when you wanted to work on your weaknesses?
I think I started eating more, to be honest, over that period. And for me, Jen, my nutrition coach, Jen Ketter, she's amazing. She is Mal O'Brien's nutrition coach as well. Funny coincidence. We both have Jen. She is amazing. But I think she's been super flexible with me because I'm also like addictive personality type where I can't get too fixated on my macros. And if I start to feel like I do, we back off and I'll take a week where I don't track. Or if it starts to feel too stressful, like from the open to quarters, I actually didn't track. Because I've been doing this for almost 4 years now, like I can kind of like look at food and be like, 5 ounces of chicken. So it was pretty easy for me to kind of eyeball and still be eating enough. But the whole weighing, measuring, like almost felt like an extra stress, and it should never be a stress, right? So I actually didn't track my macros throughout the opening quarters. I will now that we start back into training, like I'm back into that again. But when we kind of went full on like running, the aerobic volume really went up and like the kind of intensity went down. I think I started eating more.
That's really cool. Cause that's something I've learned on my nutrition is I wasn't eating enough, and I was eating the right things. And so just getting the right combination, and even though it feels like you're eating a ton, it's the right stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I kind of want to go through the open and the quarters with you, kind of piece by piece, because you're really the first athlete we get to talk to about how that went.
Yeah. Awesome.
in both sets. So last year you told us your goal was to go individual and in the open division. Did you see yourself where you are today?
No, I think even the difference between how I saw myself last May, coming off of that like confidence boost of being like second in the team, coming out of like 2 really disappointing years, like I think how I saw myself then versus before the open changed a lot too. Like a lot happened between those kind of 2 blocks. So I think going into the open, I remember Brett had emailed me, and this was after the new like format got announced for semis of like the top 120 in North America. And I remember looking at that number and being like, oh my, like those are like 120 doesn't seem like that, or doesn't seem that small. But looking at my open placing from last year, I was like mid 600s as an individual. And I remember just being like, oh dear. And we went through the numbers and we looked at how many North American athletes made up like the worldwide kind of standings, because we didn't have a North American leaderboard last year. So I couldn't really look and see where I was. And it was like over like almost 80% of the worldwide athletes was North American athletes. And we were like, holy crap, like there are some, like all of the best in the world, except for maybe like Tia and the daughters are North American, right? So I think we were like, my initial reaction was like, oh crap. And then Brett was like, all right, relax, you're going to be fine. But he's like, I think like a good goal for the Open is top 300, like worldwide. And he's like, top 300 should put you in top 120 in North America. So, and I remember looking at that. And at that point, I was kind of like, all right, no, we've put too much work in. Like, let's narrow that down. Let's go top 150. Let's be like crazy here. And let's set a goal of top 150 in the Open. And that after the first 2 weeks of like, honestly, not great workouts for me, and I was still in the top 120, we were like, oh, that's kind of nice. That's cool. So yeah, it kind of completely just did a 180.
So let's kind of walk through those workouts, because you actually, the last 2 workouts were your best workouts.
Yeah.
So you started with workout 1 and you finished 273.
Yeah.
And that one, gosh, it seems like so long ago already, and it's only been a couple weeks.
So many workouts ago.
That one was the
wall walk, double under.
The wall walk. Okay. Okay. Yeah. That's why I forgot it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We all want to.
So walk us through that. Wall walk has never been in the Open. I'm not sure how much you train a wall walk.
Don't. I think the last time I did a wall walk prior to that was when I was coaching the Special Olympics CrossFit at our gym. We do wall walks a lot with them. And the last time I would have done that would have been, and it's been, unfortunately, that program, actually it's back now, but it was closed for a bit after COVID, just precautions and all that. So I hadn't even demoed one for them in like a year. But yeah, so when that got announced, I remember I think my guess was, like when he kind of started talking, I was like double unders and strict handstand push-ups. And I was like, okay, cool. Like I love strict handstand push-ups. And then he said wall walks, and I was like, he's joking, right? Like I remember texting with a couple of the other athletes, and I was like, he's joking, right? Like we're not going to do wall walks. We're going to do handstand walking or handstand push-ups. And they were like, I don't know what's going on.
Anyways, and so many of them.
Yeah, and so many. I was like, and I didn't even know what to expect. I was like, it's not that I thought it was going to be easy. It was just more of like a, what? Like I had no idea what to expect, right? And of course, when something new comes up, nobody likes it. But anyways, the first time I did it, and to be honest, double unders, it's an odd movement for me. If it was 10 rounds of 50 double unders and 5 wall walks, I would have placed probably 100 placings higher. Anytime I have big sets of double unders, so like more than 100, that's where I start to get hurt. And it's something we worked on. 100 used to be my like max set. If I did 100 unbroken, I was like, I'm retiring. That's amazing. But now it's kind of like, it's that same thing with anything, right? Like it doesn't get perfect overnight. So it went from like 50 in a workout to being a lot, to then 75. Now 100's comfortable. And now we're starting to like move our way up. But those sets of 150 and 210 under fatigue were what hurt me. And my shoulder endurance is also something that we have needed to work on. And I was kind of like, I was happy with how it went. But at the same time, I was kind of looking back on it, I was like a little annoyed with it. But yeah, no, to be honest, I was just happy that my ribs held up for the big sets of double unders, because we're still trying to figure out what it is. I had a bone scan earlier today for my ribs and my chest, because it's like strictly double unders. Same thing, big sets. When I'm breathing heavy and when my core starts to get tired, I'll get sharp pain between my ribs and in my chest, and then I like start struggling to breathe, like more so than just fatigue. And it's completely random. Like during the Open, the first time I did that workout, it was completely fine. I had no issues. And then when I redid it, it started to bother me a lot on the set of 210. And I was like, why? We just did this and it was fine. But we thought costochondritis for a while, and then I saw somebody else and they were like, I don't think that's what it is. So we just kind of roll with it and we just manage it. But so that's another reason why my big sets of dubs I've struggled with a little bit. But yeah, so going into that workout, I was kind of like, I have no idea what to expect here with these wall walks. I don't know if they're going to feel like strict handstand push-ups, if I'm going to be able to keep going when I'm fatigued. Like I didn't even know what muscles they would target. And they were effective for sure. And it was a very effective shoulder endurance test. So yeah, overall, it didn't go awful, but at the same time, looking back, it was like, okay, cool. Now we need to work on those.
So then you moved into test 2, and that was the infamous dumbbell snatches and burpee box overs. that everybody loved from 2017.
Yeah.
Did you do
And-
it back? Did you do it then?
No, I had hardly even started CrossFit then. I
Okay.
think I was like, actually, so 2017 was the year I was too young to do the open by like a couple months. So I would have been 13. But I think, did I do the open? I think I did, but I did it with a 20-pound dumbbell.
Sure.
And I don't think I finished.
Okay.
I was not.
Well, that's a great, neat test though to go back and look, right?
Yeah. No, 13-year-old me was like, I think I snatched 125 when I was 13, but I couldn't run 400 meters without stopping. So I wish I was kidding.
Mhm.
So you finished it this time, correct?
Yes, yeah. I was, crap, what was my time? 11 something, maybe 10 something.
Yeah,
don't know.
which blows my mind, but was 395th in the world.
I know, yeah. To be honest though, if we look at when that got announced, it was like, this is what I do every single day. And from transitioning in my training from just strictly running and aerobic, and then we started moving into same thing as last year. Remember I told you I just do rowing and burpees, rowing and burpees, rowing and burpees. It turned into barbell cycling and burpees, barbell cycling and burpees, because that combo of pulling off the floor and bar facing burpees, or any type of burpees for that matter, was like my weakest combo. And I'm a funny athlete where like 100 burpees per time I would do well in, but then as soon as you add some barbell cycling to it, I struggle. So if we look back to the 2020 open, the reason I kind of got tanked, like I finished like mid 600s overall, was because I came almost 4,000th on the first workout. So the 20.1 haunts my dreams. The 10 rounds of 8 power snatches, 10 bar facing burpees, I finished nearly 400 or 4,000th on, sorry. So like I got completely smoked by that workout. And that's when we kind of realized like, oh crap, that combo is not great for you. So for me going from, and obviously I was frustrated with that result because I was like, oh, like it's not that good. And my coach is just like, Anikha, man, like look at where you finished last year on that same, they're different movements, but they're the same stimulus of like pulling and burpees. You went from 4,000th to 300 something. It's like, that's a huge improvement over a year. And it's funny because like until the open, I basically told myself like, you're not going to be flashy this year. You've been working solely on one thing. Like you're not going to win the open. You're not going to be like amazing this year, because my sights were on next year. That's what I was looking at. And then as soon as the first workout happened and I actually wasn't doing terrible, then all of a sudden it switched to like, now I have to be perfect or else it's not good enough. And Brett was like, all right, relax. Like that's still so much better. So I think like initially I was frustrated with that because I did my best. I did that workout twice within a span of 24 hours, I think. And I planned on not redoing it because I finished it and my goal I think was like 10:30. I think I could be completely messing up the numbers, but and I was like 20 seconds off of it. And I remember being frustrated. I was like, oh, I should be able to, I should, blah, blah, blah. And so then I remember being like frustrated with myself more than anything, that I came back the next morning and I did it with like a heat from the gym. And I think I only went 10 seconds faster, if that, but I was just more happy. It was like, okay, I know I gave everything I could, like completely died, thought I was going to throw up on the set of 50, like fully was like, I think my food is in my mouth, but I cannot drop this dumbbell. Like, but at least I knew I gave it everything. And so when the leaderboard came out initially, I was like really bummed about it. And then after chatting with Brett and him being like, you went from like almost 4,000 to like 300 some, like that is huge. And then after the fact, now I can kind of look back on it and be like, okay, that was a big like milestone for me. So
Yeah, and then you actually moved into your wheelhouse.
yeah.
Where you in the third test you took 40th in the world.
Yeah, that one was fun. I loved that.
And I remember that was, oh my gosh, I am blanking on everything.
Front squats.
Yeah.
You know, the front squats. Yeah. And toes to bars, chest to bar.
15 front squats, 30 toes to bar, 15 thrusters, rest a minute. Same thing with chest to bar, muscle ups. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I thought that was a beautifully programmed workout. It was just like the interference was insane. But same thing, the first time I did it, the open was kind of like, I hadn't competed in over a year. It was kind of like finding that, like I'd gotten really good at training over the past year. Like we got really good at training, but training and competing are completely different. So I think for me, the open was just trying to like shake off the rust a bit and kind of get back into that like competition headspace and whatnot. So for that workout, I remember like the first run was like, I went into that and I was like, I only want to do this one once. I redone the first two. I only want to do this once. Obviously I didn't, but like there was just a couple things that didn't go perfect. The way we set up our bar, because they were so specific with the floor plans this year. I mean, I get it. It keeps it fair for sure. But the way our rigs are set up, they're completely against the wall. And then we have soft mat, but the soft mat is not 8 feet away from the rig. So I would have had to squat and do thrusters on a slightly uneven floor. And that wasn't ideal. So we decided to put my bar, the rig kind of goes this way. We decided to put my bar like in the rig because I'm tiny. So when I fully extend, I don't hit any bars or anything, but I do hit the wall. So every time I went to pick up the bar, I'd like smoke it against the side of the rig, smoke it against the wall, have to move around. And then my foot would step over the line and then I'd have to shuffle backwards before I could start. There's a couple of things like that were a little frustrating. So I did decide to redo it. And on the redo, I went nearly 20 seconds faster. I think I would have been like 15th, maybe 20th. I can't quite remember. And then my lift, not even out of fatigue, I forgot how to hang clean. My brain just like completely shut down and I forgot how to hang clean. I didn't even make one lift because we had decided not to do the full complex until I got to a weight that was like something that I'd want to put on the leaderboard. So like I did a power clean and a jerk at 175, did a hang clean and a jerk at 195, and then we put on 205. And like I've never done an easier power clean in my life. It was like beautiful. And then I couldn't hang clean at all. I was so frustrated, but at the same time, it was like, it's fine. I was frustrated, but at the same time, I wasn't too upset about it because I knew the open wasn't really what counted, but it was foolish because I was like, Anikha, your clean is 250. You should be putting up, like my goal was 220 and I couldn't hang clean 205. I was like, what is going on? But that's all right. I mean, I completely ignored cleans over the past year, like completely. So, I mean, maybe we need to touch those every once in a while. That's not, that's just our fault. Right. So it was good to know for sure. But overall, I was happy with that one. It was fun. It was probably my favorite open workout to date.
Yeah, and if our listeners don't know, like your clean numbers are insane for a 17-year-old, like insane.
And it's funny when I said at the start, I'm not talented. I should also mention, I basically came out of the womb with a 250-pound clean. Like I had not had to work in a 330-pound back squat. Like I can squat and clean forever. But the unfortunate, when I say I'm not talented, I mean, it didn't transfer into anything. I had no aerobic base, no lactic acid threshold. And for like 4 years, my squat was more than my deadlift. So I should mention there are certain things I was extremely talented in, but in the general sense of CrossFit, I wasn't very talented. But.
Yeah, my squat's still heavier than my deadlift. So
yeah. Some people, honestly, if you're quad dominant and you're like longer legs, shorter torso, shorter arms, some people do like have an extremely close squat and deadlift.
Yeah, mine's not even close. Anyway, so then you finish 58th in the world in the open.
Yeah, that was
not top 150.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a big shift from where I thought I would be. And now the open was like kind of a whirlwind of things of just like workouts not going how I wanted them to, having too much pressure on myself. It was kind of like frustrating for me in a sense of like, I feel like I've dealt with all these things before. I felt like I kind of overcame that, like putting too much pressure on myself, how to handle pressure, that kind of stuff. But then I had to remind myself, like, it's been a year since I've competed. I am rusty. And the open was perfect for that in the sense of like, I got to shake off the competition rust, kind of regain my competition head. Because again, it's very different than my training mindset, which was like ready to go, but like completely different, right? So the open was great for that. And it led in perfectly to quarters.
So that's one thing I kind of wanted to brush on a little bit is your mindset going into quarters, right? Because you did better than you thought you would do in the open.
Yeah.
So then do your expectations rise, and how do you kind of keep that in check so that you can focus and do well in the quarters?
Yeah, I think for quarters, it was the same thing. It was like the way me and Brett had looked at it after I did well in the open. The first bit was kind of like, we don't know what to expect. Let's just do our best and kind of shake that rust off. And then once we saw where I was, it was point A to point B to point C. And then once we get to semis, that's where we have some fun. So I think for me, once I got into quarters, I was excited. There was another female from my gym who qualified. Being PEI, I'm sure there was loads of people in gyms who qualified, but for us, like since we don't have that many, we have 2 CrossFit affiliates, I think, maybe 3. So for us, that was really exciting to have somebody else from our gym doing a qualifier with me. And I've been friends with her since I was 12. So it was really cool, and that was really fun. So I was actually just excited to have that experience with her, because she was so excited. She's like, I get to do a video intro and I get to say my name, and like, oh, she was so excited. I loved it. It was super fun. So I think for me, I was just excited. It was like, do what you know you can, because I got that kind of like calm confidence back of like, I can put pressure on myself, but it doesn't need to hurt me. So it was just kind of like, you know what you can do, go do it, have some fun. There was a slight bit of stress when the floor plans came out and there was no rings or bar. I will admit, I did not initially like that. I remember texting Brett being like, what is going on? What are they going to make us do? Because gymnastics is like mine, even more so than strength in some ways, being in the individual division. Like gymnastics is my jam, right? So seeing there being no rings or bar, I was like, but it ended up being fine. But other than that, like I was actually super calm, like just ready to have some fun, get to semis, and then once semis come around, that's when we can really start. That's when the first stressful competition starts.
So you said you were good at handstand push-ups, strict handstand push-ups. Well, you proved that on test 1, finishing 38th in North America. And so that was a great start. Got you off kicking. You never finished you finished worse in the open than any of your finishes, in the quarters. And then that front squat came, and you must have been like, this is my jam.
Yeah, I was happy. The first one was actually, so the order we did them, to be honest, in hindsight, we made some mistakes with the orders. And like, of course, nothing's ever going to go perfect. I didn't expect it to. But in hindsight, we made some mistakes with the order of things, and that's fine, is what it is. But the first day, so for us, it got announced Thursday at 4 p.m. So we kind of listened to the announcement. We decided we'd do that handstand push-up, kipping, bicep curl one. And that's exactly what they were. It was the CrossFit Bro Sesh. So yeah, we do that one first. And then the same night we would squat just to get it done, because I wasn't going to redo that. It was like, just hit that hard and then you can have that under your belt. In hindsight, we should have done the very last one, the snatch burpee box jump over. But I don't think anybody could have known that was the smartest plan at that point. That would have been an afterthought. But yeah, no, so that first one was super fun. I had a blast. There's definitely that was one, if I had redone, I think I would have gained 20 seconds on.
So how did your double unders go on that one?
Oh, great. 50 was fine. I love 50. 50 is perfect. I didn't trip. I was really happy with that. I don't have the fastest jumps compared to some women and just not even women, even guys who can just like bang out those dubs and they're super quick. Mine are a little more methodical, but like I didn't trip. So, and I think that would have taken more time anyways, was tripping. So yeah, I was happy I didn't trip. I did accidentally do 11 handstand push-ups a couple times. So that wasn't great. And I think there was at one point, I thought he said 50, but he said 40. So I stopped, and then I had to kind of like scramble and do 10 more. So there were some small things that really could have shaved off some time. But overall, like I finished and I was like, that went great. I'm like proud of my effort. Like that, we don't need to redo that one or even think about it. And then it's always after the fact, you're like looking at your video like, oh crap, I should have done this, this, and this. But it's always nice when you have that initial feeling after a workout of like, that went well, I'm happy.
So I talked to you after event 5. You quoted that something happened on event 5. We don't have to repeat the quote, but it didn't go as you had planned.
Yeah, I did that. I was the only one I did twice. And if anybody knows me, they know I'm a redo gal. I'm known to do workouts twice, sometimes 3 times, and somehow get a minute faster every time. it makes no sense, and it's a good thing and it's also a bad thing, and it's something we're trying to work on. But so I was actually pleased. That was the only one I did twice. But yeah, event 5, why I would have liked to do it sooner was because I don't lift and I don't do much volume of squatting, my legs got destroyed. I don't think they've ever been that sore in my life. To be honest, that was a lot. And I'd also been dealing with so I sprained my wrist in the open, or my hand, I suppose, just kind of right in that finger kind of joint, on the lift, catching a clean. I sprained that, and I didn't think it was that bad because I've done this before, same thing, cleaning. And typically it's like a couple of days to a week and it's fine. But going into quarters, I still couldn't hold a bar overhead. So that's why we also pushed the snatches a little longer, was to give my hand some more time. And then a couple of days before quarters, I somehow compressed a joint in my spine fairly severely. And I was like struggling to stand up straight, let alone do a GHD. So I really we were really nervous for that event. I was just hoping I didn't like break my back. But we ended up moving the GHD so that my butt was almost like, if the GHD was here, I was sitting out here. And so I basically kept my back straight and went full quad. And then plus the pistols, plus the front squat. I woke up on the snatch burpee box jump over day. Like, I can't even walk down the stairs, let alone jump right now. So couple things combined, not having snatched in like 3 weeks, my legs being completely destroyed, and that 30-inch box being basically up to my neck. It was just a combination of things that led to me not being crazy happy with my performance. I was really happy with my effort, because I remember looking at Brett before we started, and our original plan was singles. It was 9.63. It's like singles on the 9. No point trying to do touch and go. I know I can't do 9 at 135 right now, so no point trying to do 5.4 and taking too long of a break. So just fast singles. And then once I get to the 6, like, I can grind, right? So just like grab that bar, hold on for 6, same thing for the 3. I warmed up and I almost failed my first snatch. And I kind of looked at Brett and we're like, I try to stay really calm when things like that happen, because there's no point in getting upset about it when you have to do the workout anyways. So I remember I kind of looked at Brett and I was just like, okay, that was a great start. We might not be going touch and go. And then we kind of had to adapt on the fly, and I ended up doing singles the whole time. But I honestly was just wrecked at that point, and I didn't feel like I could do what I was capable of. And it was unfortunate because it dropped me out of the top 20, and I wanted to stay in there to have that confidence going into semis. But at the same time, I like ending qualifiers with a little disappointment because it makes me even more fired up. But that's what I meant when I said it didn't go perfect. There was just a couple things that I couldn't control that on my effort, I was beyond happy with my effort. I like did everything I could, but performance wise, it wasn't the Anikha Greer snatches we know.
We're going to take a short break from our interview to tell you about our newest sponsor, Up Before You Coffee. They are an amazing coffee. It is delicious, has different little notes of chocolate and things like that. And it's really clean and crisp when you drink it in the morning. But they have a light roast. They also have a medium roast, as you can see there. We are so excited about the sponsorship. If you use Clydesdale 20, all caps, Clydesdale 20, you can get 20% off your order. Just go to upbeforeyou.com and order your coffee. It's delicious. You'll love it. Well, with all that, you still finished 26th in North America.
Yep.
Pretty freaking amazing. Wow, like, you're 17 years old and top 30, and you get to go on to the semis, which is going to be fun. Yeah. That's going to be a little bit different this year because of the COVID thing. Your whole CrossFit career seems to have been impacted by either age restrictions or COVID. And so hopefully we can get that cleared up sometime soon.
Yeah, it would be nice, I think.
And so now you have the Atlas Games that are going virtual.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you have the MAC that's going to be in person. You have the other two who haven't said a thing yet.
I know their Instagrams have been like, they've been posting other people, and I'm like, are you guys going to tell us anything soon? But like, Mid-Atlantic is ready to go.
So how does that feel as an athlete when you're going to have the opportunity to qualify in different ways? Some are going to get to do it online. Some are have to do it in person.
Yeah, it doesn't, for me, I can't worry about anybody else other than myself. And I mean, everybody will tell you that. But at the same time, it's like, I don't think there's an advantage to going. There's advantages to both. There's advantages to being online. You're in your own gym. You're with your own people. Then there's advantages to going in person. You're pushing off your competitors. Like people would want both for different reasons. Then virtual, you don't have to worry about jet lag, traveling, all that. So there's benefits to both. Some people might say it was unfair that some qualified online versus in person, but at the same time, I don't think it is. You're still competing against it. I think they're going to try to seed us as fairly as possible. My first pick was Mid-Atlantic. And then I think I went Granite, West Coast, and then finally Atlas, because I would basically do whatever just so I could go in person. Not even because I think it'll give me a better chance at a game spot, more so just because it has been so long since I have been able to compete against people, and like I'm itching for a competition floor. So I'd really like that experience for my first semifinal. But we'll see what happens. I mean, maybe Granite or West won't go in person. I mean, I don't know what the States are like being kind of in PEI in Canada. I don't see that. So I'm not really sure what's going on down there, but if I get my first pick, that'd be amazing.
So the rumor I'm hearing, and it's just a rumor, is that they're actually looking for other sites.
Yeah, that's smart.
And because some of the states are more open than others. And so they're trying, just like the Mid-Atlantic move from DC to Knoxville, they're looking to move to a place so that they can hold it live.
Yes. And I think that's smart, to be honest. Like, if you're saying you can go in person, and I mean, for me, it's a different situation for me. I have to isolate for 2 weeks when I come home. I also have to pay to isolate for 3 days in a government issued hotel in Canada once I fly back. We have so many precautions. So I know if I go to the States, I am not presenting a danger to anybody else. And that's kind of what's important to me. My mom is vaccinated. Canada has not been doing great with the vaccine rollout, to be honest. But there's a potential I'll be vaccinated by then. So I know I'm not presenting a danger to anybody else by me going. For Americans, I'm not sure how. I don't know the rules, and I don't know the rules for everybody's states, but just for me personally, like, I would love to go in person. It would be great if they could move locations so I could do so. But of course, I would never want to present a danger to anybody else, but the precautions Canadians take, I'm not worried about that. And I hope I know there's like testing, and there's a lot of stuff. Like I think I read somewhere about, might have been Mid-Atlantic. It might have been an interview he did about, like, we'll do testing on site before you leave and like enter to make sure that we're not spreading it. So if they take precautions like that and they limit maybe no spectator stuff like that, I don't see why it wouldn't be viable to move spots.
Yeah, it's really different across the United States. Some states are very, very open. Some states are very, very closed. And so it just depends on where it's at, because there are sporting events with fans now.
Yeah. That baseball game I saw pictures from, and I was just like, that's insane. We can only have 15 people in a CrossFit class. And I mean, if they're all vaccinated, have at it, go for it. But it is funny. I mean, they have 50 to choose from, so.
Right. So a couple of things I want to talk to you about is you are now a semi-final qualifier in the open division of CrossFit. Why does your Instagram still say rodeo?
Because life's still a rodeo. That'll never change. It's still a rodeo. No, it's just, I just can't. It'd be like, you probably I've seen clips of Travis Mayer. He's one of my favorites, elite individual men CrossFit athletes. I think he's great. But I remember watching clips of him when I was younger, of him at the games in like 2015. And in the warm-up area, he would stick a clown nose on his nose so that it would be impossible to take himself seriously. And so you would see him stretching, and he's just got this big red nose. And when he was asked about it, he's like, because I used to take myself too seriously, and there's no way I can take myself seriously with a clown nose on. And I always really liked that, because like, I take CrossFit and what I do seriously, but I try really hard not to take myself too seriously, or put on too much of like a face on social media. And I don't post a whole lot. I don't do a whole lot of there's no like motivational Wednesday quote, like get after it type thing. So I don't do that. So it's just kind of like, I just keep it lighthearted. Life's a rodeo. So I kept it in there.
All right. Oh, so with all this, you're getting a lot of attention. nationally in different media. Like we said at the beginning, you were named a young gun in Morning Chalk Up as
Give it
someone
up.
to watch. Bar Ben Magazine listed you as one of the 4 young athletes to watch this season.
Oh, did they?
They did.
That's news. That's cool.
And you've kind of met these expectations. You finished top 30 in North America. You're moving on to the semifinals. And then I saw you were featured in, and I didn't even know this existed, the Chipper.
Oh,
You
yeah.
shared it on your story.
Like, I don't even know what that is. Yeah, the CrossFit Games, I think it's like an Instagram Reels. I still don't know what those are. I see them all the time, and I have yet to explore. But they posted an Instagram Reels, and I think it was just like the cool things they saw this week, and I got featured for just like I think I had the highest front squat. If we looked at like the CrossFit Games athlete level, the ones that weren't just kind of outliers, I think I came 3rd, just behind Amanda Barnhart and crap, I can't remember, somebody else. But anyway, so I got featured there just being the youngest, and that was really cool. That was nice to see. They're like, oh, cool, they know who I am. So that was neat.
So with all that, have you, and you don't seem to be someone who dives into social media all the time. Like you said, you don't post a ton, but have your followers gone up since you're kind of getting recognized now?
I think so. I think I noticed that. I think I went from a 3 to a 4, and I was like, yay.
And so with that, have you gotten, and you don't have to give us any specifics, but have you gotten any attention from sponsors?
Being 17, it's still tough because I think there are like contract wise, there's not a whole lot they can do with somebody who's 17, or some at least. I have started talking to lab management, actually. I can say that we have, I guess I can kind of announce it now, I suppose, and nothing like official yet. I haven't signed anything with them, but I was on a call with Deb Graff yesterday, one of their agents. She's awesome. Really like the company. Really, Emma is one of their athletes now too, Carrie, which is super cool. I love her. She's awesome. But anyway, so yeah, I chatted with them a bit, and I think once that kind of starts rolling, I have worked a little bit with Reebok as kind of like a friend of the brand a little bit. So again, nothing official there, but yeah, probably partnering up with Lab has been the biggest change since the Open started.
Are you excited at the opportunity of sponsorships and maybe making this a career?
Yes, 100%. And I've always said that is like, that's why my focus has been so much on the long game and not winning the games when I'm like 17, 18, because I do want to do this as a career. I love this sport, and it's not like I want to prolong it until I'm 50, but at the same time, I'd like to peak at the right time. So yeah, for sure, that would be, yeah, definitely exciting.
So we just have a couple short questions, and then we're going to get into a rapid fire to finish up.
Sure.
And it's funny you said you like Emma, because like you two are you're our girls. Like
I love that. Yeah.
You two are our favorites, and we want you guys to do so well. So it's awesome.
He's great. He's one of the most talented people I've ever witnessed in my whole life, and she's hardworking too. Not to give all the credit to talent, but she is just like, watching the video of her when she was 11 doing the 17.1. I was like, when I was 11, I think if I got down on the ground, it would have taken me the full time cap to get up and over the box. Like, it's just, that was insane. She's amazing. Yeah.
So the couple short questions I want to ask you first are your support team. Last time we had you on, your mom and dad are huge supporters. Your coach is a huge supporter. Your gym, it looks like a great community. Yeah. Is that still going well with you guys?
100%, even more so. Like, even though I'm not in the teens, and like, our gym has actually grown exponentially over the past year. There's so many new people, and actually something amazing they did for me just after kind of COVID started, with our restrictions on PEI, we can only have a certain amount of people per class. And we were one of the only gyms in the Maritimes the Maritimes is our group of like 3 Atlantic provinces. So PEI, Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, that little group. So we were one of the only gyms in the Maritimes that didn't have signups for classes. It was like, hey, we got a 4:30 class, everybody come. And we'd have sometimes like 30 people. So we'd have these big classes in a gym that's not, we have a beautiful gym. I love it, but it's not huge, right? So it would get a little out of hand, but we started doing signups because you can only have 15 people per class. But that was tough when we don't have an open gym space. Our entire gym is being used. And at first it was kind of like, oh crap, where am I going to train? And I am so fortunate to have, again, like the gym and the coach I do, because Brett is my coach is an owner of the gym, right? So we actually, Mike, the other owner, who also is a phenomenal masters athlete. He last year came not 13th. Yes, 13th in his division. So he was right there. And this year, same thing for the open. One of the workouts didn't go like superb for him, but I think when the AGOQ rolls around, like he is also somebody that should be watched, Mike Ives. Anyway, so his old office, because he was a lawyer, we ended up clearing it out because he didn't really use it, and we turned it into like Anika's little corner. So that old office space, we knocked down the front wall, and there's a pull-up bar underneath now, and now it's just kind of like this open little, it's about the same size as my garage, but it's still part of the gym and I can still see people. And that's just kind of where I spend my days. So that was huge, and I was so grateful for that, because without that, I don't know where I would have trained, because we can't just kind of come in and hide me in a corner. We have taped off boxes for people, and we're utilizing every inch of space we have. So that was amazing.
Yeah, we're living that life here in Ohio as well, where we have to sign up for classes, and it's all based on size to person ratio. So are you a senior in high school now?
Yes, yeah.
So how do you balance school and all of this?
So I actually was fairly smart in my course planning. For my first 2 years of high school, when I wasn't training as much as I am now, I actually had, and this wasn't even planned, this was just kind of by luck, that now I can look back on and be like, oh, that was smart. I took a lot of grade 11 and grade 12 courses early. So this semester, I only have 2 classes. And last semester, I only had 3. And I got all of the classes like math and chemistry, which I am awful at, out of the way. So I haven't done math in over a year. God bless. And I just have some of the courses I enjoy and that aren't super time demanding now that are left. So that was actually, it was really stressful for the first 2 years. I was like, holy crap, what am I doing to myself? And COVID actually helped in a sense of that, because half of my courses got put online last year. So I got through chemistry and math online, and that was actually a little bit better than in person, less tests. But no, now I don't have an extremely heavy course load. So I'm basically done. I can get to the gym at 1, and then I can kind of train the rest of the evening. But yeah, no, I'm not homeschooled. I go to a public high school. Nobody really knows what I do. So it is kind of funny. It's like an alternate Anika.
And then, so it sounds like you're going to put college off for now.
No, actually, I am, having a degree is really important to me, even if it's not something like, I still want CrossFit to be my main focus. And
isn't your dad a professor?
Yeah. So
okay, I thought so.
He also, the part in relation to that, because he's a professor at our university, we only have one university on the island, UPEI. And for the longest time, I did want to leave. I'd said like the past 3 years, like, I don't really want to stay on PEI, because there's not, as much as I love PEI and I love the people here, there's so many more things outside, especially in the CrossFit world, I wanted to kind of get in touch with. But because of COVID, I wasn't able to get out and compete a lot last year, wasn't able to make a whole lot of connections, wasn't really able to, there was nowhere that was pulling me anywhere. So it wasn't like, yes, I want to go there to train with them and go to this school. It was kind of like, I don't really know. I didn't get that experience. So for my first year, I'm going to go to UPEI and stay here. And what's really nice is, because my dad's a prof, my tuition is really, really low. And PEI loves when PEI people stay here. So I get a couple $1,000s a year just for staying on PEI, and because I'm from PEI. So it would almost be crazy for me not to take advantage of that. However, I will be taking only 3 courses a semester. So I'm still full-time, but it's not going to be a 4-year degree. It'll probably take me 5.5 to finish my undergrad. But yeah, no, so I got accepted into the English literature program. So I'm going to major in English literature and minor in French linguistics.
Wow.
Completely outside CrossFit.
Well, and it's funny, you answered my next question, which is, because you told us last time you wanted to leave and kind of explore, but that's changed since then.
Yeah, unfortunately and not unfortunately. Mom and dad are very happy I'm staying here. They're supportive of me leaving, but I remember talking about dad the first time, or talking with dad about me leaving, and he's like, "What do you mean you're leaving? I thought you were staying here forever." I was like, "Yeah," but so no, it's nice to stay here with Brett for another year while I kind of get my feet as an individual too, because this is the year where like so much changes, right? Like this is my first year as an individual. We're like figuring out where I am in that pack, figuring out like there's so much to figure out this year that it is nice that I will be staying here. I don't have to worry about that. And moving to a new gym, moving in by myself, moving to a new country, province, whatever it be. So it is nice to still have that security for now. But I do think within the next couple years, I will want to move. But where and when depends on what opportunities arise. I'm pretty open to that.
Well, and once, now that you've kind of made a name for yourself and you're saving so much money by staying in PEI, you can do drop-ins with different people and just kind of see how different things are and take your time and pick the right place.
Exactly. And it was actually funny. I was talking to mom about that yesterday. We were looking at my options because the games like sent out an email for your picks for which semi you would prefer to go to. And obviously I put in person first, but we were looking at timing wise of West Coast if that happens then, and if I end up getting sent to that one. With the timing, by the time I finished competing, got back to Montreal, isolated because there's only so many flights out of Canada, and it's always back to Montreal. Once I got there, did our 3-day quarantine in the Montreal airport, got back home, isolated for 2 weeks. I'd basically have to turn around and we're adding the if I qualify for the games, which is now my goal. So if we add that, if this is a big contingency, I would basically get home, isolate, turn around, and go back for the games, and that is not ideal. So I was talking to some people who live around that area and who I'm close with, CrossFit people, and it would almost be like if I go to West Coast and qualify for the games, I'd basically live in the States until the games happen. And I was kind of like, I like that scenario, I think. And I was kind of like, maybe West Coast should have been a higher pick, but stuff like that, like I would love to over the summer. And I talked about this with a couple people, CrossFit people. I would love to go for like a month because I have to isolate when I get back no matter what. I may as well go for a while and then come back. But I would love to go and train with some people and maybe do like a little like, I don't know, locally, sanctionally type kind of comp over the summer. Depending on so much, depending on how semi goes and everything. But I talked about that often about wanting to go live somewhere else for a little bit and then come back for the school year just to kind of get out there a bit. And I still think that would be really fun.
Well, if you need any help connecting with people, we do have some connections. And so we can help you out if you need.
Yeah, for sure.
So now we're going to hit you with the rapid fire questions. Amy's going to start them off. And
yeah. What is your favorite thing to do with your horse?
Oh, show jumping. I miss competing so much. Yeah, definitely competing.
And then what event do you want to see at semis?
1 RM clean.
What was that again?
1 RM clean.
Okay. Yeah.
It was pretty. Okay, if we want to make it more interesting, ring muscle ups. 100%. Ring muscle ups and some sort of odd object.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's your favorite cheat meal?
Ooh. If I was to quote M2, there's no such thing as cheat meals, but my favorite first pick for food quality food would probably, there's so many to choose from. Cupcakes. I love cupcakes.
That's a great one.
How much accessory work do you do in a day?
A fair amount, actually. Yeah, we do a lot of grip and core. Yeah, so typically, we do some bro sessions too. They really helped with those dumbbell power clean / curls on that first event.
Yeah. Okay, so if a major shoe company asked you to design a color wave for a shoe, what would it be?
Black and silver. Or black and gold. Let's. If we're gonna make it a metallic color, we may as well make it in the first place. But definitely black.
What have you improved the most over the last year?
Oh, my running. Yeah, my running and my rowing. Actually, that row wall ball workout, I have never been happier than when I finished that row wall ball workout from the quarters.
So,
That would have tanked me last year.
so let me ask you this. You say you're tiny. When in your Instagram, you don't look tiny. You actually look
I know.
tall.
People think I'm like 5'7".
And so how tall are you?
5'2" on a good day.
And so rowing and wall balls is definitely not
Yeah.
in your, what would be your strength.
Yeah, and we actually, I can think of like 10 workouts off the top of my head that we've done in the past month of just rowing and wall balls. And I haven't, it's funny, I hadn't touched a 14-pound wall ball until quarters. I've been using 20s for the past like almost a year, just because like if you get good with a 20, you're gonna be fine with a 14. And like, so I went into that workout more confident than I went into the front squat, because I do it every single day. And even after the fact, I like finished. I remember I sprinted the last like 20 cals, and like I hurt for like 5 minutes, and then I was like, I'm really, really happy with how that went. And a small part of me was like, you could have gone faster. And that was really cool, because there was a couple instances like that in those workouts where I would finish and I'd be like, initially like, you did good, that was awesome. And then after the fact, I was like, you can go faster. So that was cool for me leading into semis, where like I feel like I have another gear I didn't even know I had until I kind of finished those workouts. And I was like, okay, like that was good, but I think you have more. So yeah, definitely rowing.
So I go to Christy Ermo O'Connell's gym.
Okay. Yeah,
And
cool.
we were talking yesterday about that exact workout, and
Yeah.
she's probably 5'2" as well,
Mhm.
maybe. And she was saying it was just awful. Like
Yeah.
she got really good at her wall balls, but the rowing, she just has not
Mhm.
mastered yet.
Yeah. Yeah, it is something that like I hate using my height as a like a measure for anything, because then people can say, well, you're only good at cleans because you're yay tall. And I'm like, how about I'm good at cleans because I'm strong, and how about I'm bad at rowing because I'm bad at rowing. But it is something that if you even have an extra inch, that extra like little bit on that pole, you will be naturally better at rowing. But it's definitely not like Tia Claire Toomey is a great example. She was almost, I don't know if she was maybe like top 5 or something on the 1K row last year. She's my height. So there's no rule that being short doesn't allow you to be a good rower. You just might not be born a good rower. But
Good attitude.
Yeah. So how do you relax?
it's a really good question. I should probably figure that out. I'm actually kind of bad at relaxing. I'm a very like, not even like thought kind of turning, but I'm a very like constantly thinking I need to be doing something. Like this past week of not training has been ridiculous. I'm constantly like, what am I doing? This is awful. I need to be doing something. But actually, what I do before bed every night is I watch an episode of Bob's Burgers with my dad. That is my favorite way to relax. Yeah.
Wow.
What's your favorite lift?
Ooh. Okay. Love-hate relationship, but my favorite to execute really well, snatch. Yeah.
What's your go-to breakfast?
Oh, see, okay, I need to find a better one, because I get nauseous when I eat eggs. So like my breakfasts are the worst. They're so boring. But what I eat regularly is I'll have like Greek yogurt, berries, and granola, but then I'll put protein in the yogurt. And it actually mixes really well. It doesn't get grainy or anything. Because I used to eat scrambled eggs with like peppers and stuff, and I loved it. And then it just seemed like the past year I can't eat eggs anymore. And it's so annoying because they always look so appetizing with like bacon. And I'm like, oh. But I've actually been trying. If you have any breakfast suggestions, hit me up, because I need to switch it up. Yeah, that's typically what I eat.
And then my last one is, what is your favorite gymnastics movement?
Ooh. Oh, I think if I were to program, if I could have like one gymnastics movement in semis, though, it would be ring muscle ups, because I love them and I think they're the biggest separator.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, that's all the questions. You've made it through.
Yeah.
Yay! Did I pass?
You did.
Well, Anikha, it's been a hoot getting back in touch with you and hearing about all that you've done. And we're rooting for you so much to do well in semis and make the games. I'm hoping to be at all of the United States.
Yeah.
So hopefully we can meet in person.
100%. Yeah.
And do that. So we wish you all the best, and
Thank you
we
so
can't
much.
wait to talk to you again.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah, thank you.
Good luck.